Yo, what's up guys? It's Noah here, and in today's video, we're going to be breaking down the NBA slate on Draftkings and Yahoo for Thursday, January the 28th. We got another short slate for a Thursday, just 4 games today, but we're going to break it down team by team, break down this slate, each of these games team by team. We'll go through, talk about, all the guys that do stand out to me looking at this slate on Wednesday night. I'll give you guys my early thoughts, what I'm liking on each team for this 4-game slate. But before we do get started with the breakdown, guys, as always, I'd appreciate it if you'd hit that like button down below. If you're new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button as well. Click that notification bell so that way you get notified every time I upload. You never miss out on any of my new videos. You also will get notified every time I do go live, and I will be live streaming this afternoon for tonight's slate. So if you're able to tune into the live stream, I can answer all your questions for tonight's slate. We can break everything down once again this afternoon. So tune into the stream, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Check out my Patreon content as well, which is linked down in the description. If you do want to get some additional content from me, if you do enjoy the videos I put out on YouTube, you want to see more that I have to offer, you can check out what I do have to offer on Patreon, which is linked down below in the description. But let's go ahead and take a look at Thursday's 4-game slate. We'll start off with the Portland-Houston game, and we will start on the Portland side. So Portland is a pretty important team on the slate. They're dealing with a lot of injuries right now. CJ McCollum, Yusuf Nurkic, Robert Covington, all 3 of those guys remain out for this game. And then you got Derrick Jones Jr., who I believe is probable. Rodney Hood also probable. I think both those guys are expected to play. Last I saw, yeah, DJJ is probable and Rodney Hood is probable. So both those guys are expected to play, but Covington, Nurkic, McCollum, all 3 of those guys remain out. So obviously it starts off with Damian Lillard, 10,600. I like Lillard a lot on this slate. He burned me really bad last slate against OKC. I mean, he didn't burn me, but he didn't have a great game. 50 DK points in 39 minutes. Obviously, at his price point, I was looking for more than 50 DK points. Like, Lillard had a terrible game last game, and he still scored 50 DK points. Like, his upside is just so high when you take CJ McCollum and Nurkic off the floor. Like, Lillard's just going to dominate the usage. The ball's going to be in his hands a ton. He's going to take 20, 25 shots. It's a great matchup. This should be a fast-paced game against Houston. This is a great spot for Damian Lillard. I think he's a guy I do want to try and pay up for on the slate. When you look at all the other studs, you got LeBron, you got Steph Curry, you got AD. I think I want to get to Damian Lillard. I would definitely prefer him over LeBron. LeBron's 10,400. Lillard is 10,600. For sure, give me Lillard all day over LeBron. He's my favorite stud on the slate, and he is a guy that I do want to try and pay up for on both sides. I like him quite a bit on both sides. Right now there's not a ton of great value, so maybe if some better value opens up, it'll be easier to get Lillard, but you can still fit him in. There's still some guys in the 4K, 5K range that do look like solid options today. They do come from Portland, so we'll talk about them in a second. But then you got Enes Kanter at 7,100. I do like Kanter quite a bit on this slate. His prices come way up, but I mean, it's hard to argue against it because he's just such a productive player when he's on the floor. His minutes have kind of been all over the place. He started 4 games in place of Nurkic. He got 24 minutes that game against the Knicks. He got 32 last game against OKC. He could play anywhere from 25 to 33 minutes. There's definitely a wide range of outcomes here for Kanter. But if he does get on the upper end of those minutes, if he plays 30 to 32 minutes again, I would not be surprised to see another 50-point game from Enes Kanter because this is someone that can score, can rebound. I mean, he's a great rebounder. He can definitely give you 20 and 20. I mean, he has that kind of upside when he's playing over 30 minutes a night. It's a fast-paced game. Going to be a bunch of, shot attempts, a bunch of rebound opportunities for Kanter. Houston is not good defensively against bigs. I mean, Christian Wood, DeMarcus Cousins, neither one of those guys are really great defenders. And because Houston does have those 2 guys, Wood is expected back for this game. Because you're going to have one of Wood or Cousins on the floor at all times, I think that does help to give Kanter minutes because I think they're going to need Kanter's size out there up against those guys. So I do like Enes Kanter quite a bit. I think he's definitely in play on the slate. Even with the price up, he still looks like a really good option. And I like Carmelo Anthony as well. 5,600 on DK. He's still someone that I think is very, looks like a very intriguing option even with the price coming up. He's still pretty affordable on Yahoo at $18, so I do like him quite a bit over there. We did see Carmelo Anthony start last game with Robert Covington out. Covington's already been ruled out today, so I'm expecting Melo to start again. He played 35 minutes last game. I think it's likely he plays 34, 35 minutes again. Had 37 DK points, 22 points, 6 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 blocks, and a steal. He took 21 shots in 35 minutes. We know when Melo's on the floor, he's going to be out there just taking a ton of shots. He can rebound as well. If he's playing 35, 36 minutes, he should be probably 6K, close to 7K, because he's been a fantasy point per minute player this year with McCollum and Nurkic off the floor. It's very likely that he gives us 35, 36 DK points again, especially in a fast-paced game like this. So I do like Carmelo Anthony a lot. I think he, even though the price came up, I still think he's a little bit too cheap on this slate, especially because we don't have a ton of standout options in that 5K, 4K range. I think Melo is one guy that does stand out quite a bit. But then you got Gary Trent, who I'm not that big of a fan of. We saw him start over Rodney Hood last game, but Rodney Hood did not play at all, which was weird. Once we got word that Trent was starting, that definitely made me worried about Rodney Hood. I thought Hood's minutes would take a big hit coming off the bench, but it just turns out he didn't play at all. But he's expected back for today, which does make me assume that Rodney Hood will move back into the starting lineup. And if Hood does move back into the starting lineup, he's only 4,300. We're kind of looking for value. So I think in that 4K range, if you're looking for someone in that 4K range, assuming Hood starts again or gets back in the starting lineup tonight, it's likely he plays, 28 to 30 minutes in a pretty good game environment in a fast-paced game. Like Rodney Hood definitely has upside if he's playing close to 30 minutes in the starting lineup. I like him quite a bit on DraftKings at 4,300. I think he does look like a pretty solid value right now. If they do decide to start Gary Trent again, then obviously I don't have as much interest in Hood. But I am assuming with Hood back for this game that he is going to move back into the starting lineup. It seemed like he was injured, and that's why they didn't play him last game. Like they didn't rule him out, but he didn't play at all. Like he didn't even come off the bench. So he must have been a little injured last game, but he's probably expected to play today. I am assuming that he does move back into the starting lineup. But then you got like Derrick Jones Jr., who just doesn't give you a ton of upside. Even in 30 minutes, like he could still disappoint. I'm not a big fan of him on this slate. Anthony Simons had a good game off the bench last game, but with Rodney Hood back, I don't know if he's going to see close to 30 minutes again. He's tough to trust. Harry Giles, probably just going to play 18 to 20 minutes at most. Really not much else stands out from Portland. I think Lillard, Cantor, Anthony, and Hood, assuming he starts, those are the four guys I really like from the Blazers today. But moving on to the Houston side, Houston is pretty appealing here as well. Christian Wood, 8,700, he's expected back for this game. I think Christian Wood's viable, assuming he's full go here. It is a good matchup. Cantor is not a good defender at all, so I don't mind Wood. He's not someone I'm going to try and jam in on this slate, but I think he's definitely viable if you can pay up at center. Oladipo at 8,100. I don't think I'm going to be going to a ton on this slate, especially with Christian Wood back, with John Wall healthy now. I think I'd rather take the savings and play John Wall, and assuming Wall is not limited today, I like him a lot at 7,300. Now, he has been limited over his last two games. Since coming back from injury, he's played 21 and 24 minutes, 19 and 35 DK points. They said last game they were going to monitor his minutes, and he played 24 minutes. It was kind of a blowout. They won by 19. They didn't really need to push John Wall. We'll have to monitor this. He could get limited again, but they could play him 30 minutes. Like, we just don't really know here. This is kind of a wait and see for now, but I'm just going to assume that Wall can get close to 30 minutes today. And if that's the case, at 7,300, like he could definitely give you 40 plus DK points in 30 minutes. He's been productive with the Rockets this year. It's a great game environment. It's a great matchup. Portland plays fast. They're not good defensively. I like John Wall quite a bit on both sides at 7,300 on DK. On Yahoo, he's pretty affordable over there as well at $30. I think he looks like a really good option on both sides. Obviously, we'll need to monitor, if there's going to be any limits on him. But if he's not limited, I think John Wall is a really good option at 7,300. Boogie, I'm off of now that, Christian Wood's back. Eric Gordon, I don't really like at his price. Really, there's not much else that stands out from Houston. I think John Wall's my favorite guy here, and then Christian Wood, I think you can mix in. Oladipo's fine, but outside of those three, I don't really like anyone else from Houston. So we can go ahead and move on to the next game, the Lakers and the Pistons. Not that appealing of a game. Out of the four games we have on the slate, I think this is definitely the least appealing. We will need to monitor the Lakers. They are on a back-to-back, so this will be something worth keeping an eye on. For now, I'm just going to assume that both LeBron and Davis play, but in a matchup like this, in a game that they should easily win, I would not be surprised if you see one of LeBron or AD rest today. So keep an eye on that. If they both play, like I said earlier, I would much rather play Dame over LeBron. I don't really like LeBron at his price point. His price has come way up. I think Anthony Davis is the more appealing of the two. 8,900, his price is starting to come down. It's a good matchup. Detroit's not good defensively. If I had to choose one of the two Lakers guys, it would definitely be Davis for me. But neither one look like top options, and really nobody from the Lakers stands out right now. That could change if they maybe rest some guys on the back-to-back here. But for now, I'm just going to assume that everyone plays. And if that's the case, like I said, nothing really stands out from the Lakers. So we can go ahead and move on to the Pistons. The Pistons, they are another team that's on a back-to-back today, so this will be something to monitor. Derrick Rose has been sitting on back-to-backs lately, so he could be out today. We'll have to monitor that. I think Blake Griffin is expected back, though, for this game. He did not play on Wednesday, but he should be playing Thursday. I mean, Detroit, like, when they're fully healthy, like, this is just not a team that I really look to target. Maybe Derrick Rose rests, and that maybe bumps up the value for DeLon Wright, but Wright's, like, he's really expensive. Even if Derrick Rose rests today, I mean, Wright is almost $7K on DraftKings. Like, I don't want to pay that price for him. I really don't like anything from Detroit. Right now, nothing stands out from the Pistons. I mean, this game as a whole is just so, not appealing. I mean, there's nobody that I really like from this game. Honestly, if I'm playing multiple lineups today, like, I probably don't have any exposure to this game. At least not right now. Right now, I'm assuming all these teams, or both these two teams, don't rest any guys. Obviously, if they rest some guys, then that could maybe open up some viable options. But assuming nobody gets rested here, really not much stands out from the Lakers and Pistons game. So we'll move on to the next one, the Clippers and the Heat. Clippers dealing with injuries once again, or not necessarily injuries, but COVID issues. Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, and Patrick Beverley, all three of those guys remain out for this game. Last game with those three guys out, we saw them start Terrence Mann at point guard alongside Reggie Jackson, and then they went with Luke Kennard, Nicholas Batum, and Serge Ibaka. I'm assuming that's the same starting lineup that they run out today, so we'll talk about Terrence Mann. I think if he starts again, he looks like a really solid option. But Reggie Jackson you got at 7K. I'll be honest, I did not have any interest in Reggie Jackson on the last slate. He was just too expensive in my opinion on DK, and he had a big game. He put up 46 DK points in 39 minutes. His price went up a little bit more. It's a tougher matchup against Miami. I don't think I can play Reggie Jackson on DraftKings. I just think he's too expensive. I know the usage, the opportunity, it should be there with all these guys out, but I just don't think I want to pay this price for Jackson. I just don't expect him to produce at that high of a rate. He might get big minutes again, but I think 35 to 40 DK points, that's like more of a ceiling-type game from Reggie Jackson. I don't think 46 is something we should really expect. If I was gonna play Reggie Jackson on Yahoo, it would definitely be on Yahoo. He's a lot more affordable over there. He's $17. I have a lot of interest in Jackson on Yahoo, but on DraftKings, I just can't pay $7K for him on this slate. Ibaka, kind of the same thing. Like, he just feels a little bit too expensive. He played 29 minutes last game, had 30 DK points. Even if Ibaka gets 30 minutes today, I don't know if I want to pay $6,800 for him. Like, a lot of these guys just feel a little bit too expensive. Luke Kennard, he was $6K on the last slate. He's now up to $6,500. Tough to really go to Luke Kennard at $6,500, but I think he does look appealing, very appealing on Yahoo. Yahoo, for some reason, just did not price any of these guys up. Luke Kennard is still minimum salary on Yahoo, so he looks like a great pay down option at shooting guard. Played 28 minutes, had 31 fantasy points. I'd expect similar numbers today, and if he gets me 30 fantasy points at minimum salary, I mean, that is great value. So love Luke Kennard on Yahoo where he's minimum salary. On DraftKings, don't think I could pay $6,500 for him. Same with Nicholas Batum at $6,300. Like, all these guys just feel a little bit too expensive for my liking. Lou Williams, he just completely burned me last slate. I was very high on Lou Williams, and he played 22 minutes, had 18 DraftKings points. He just did not look great. Supposedly, he's been dealing with some injuries, I think like a hip injury. Like, I don't know. I mean, you would think in this situation with Paul George and Kawhi out that Lou Williams would just go out there and, dominate the usage, take a ton of shots, and he just didn't do that. I mean, he took 14 shots, but he wasn't very efficient from the field. Just did not look good. His price tag is still pretty high. I'm sure, if this is how it's going to go, I'm not going to play Lou Williams today, and then he's going to go off. I played him last slate on both sites, and he was terrible. Now I'm going to fade him today, and he's going to smash because that's just how things go. But I don't think I can pay $5,800 for Lou Williams after what I saw last game. It's more of a tournament play. Like, he was pretty low owned last slate. He was like 10% owned. I think he's going to be even lower owned than that today. Like, he's probably going to be 5% owned. So if you want to take a shot on him in tournaments, I think the upside is still there, but he's just really hard to trust right now. He just hasn't looked good this year. I was pretty high on him last game. I didn't like what I saw. Don't think I can go to Lou Williams on this site. Now on Yahoo, I think it's a different story over there because his price went way down on Yahoo. He's $11. He's close to minimum salary. I think if you're playing multiple lineups on Yahoo, that it makes plenty of sense to take some shots on Lou Williams at $11 on Yahoo, but it's tougher to do that on DraftKings where he's $5,800. Terrence Mann, though, I do like quite a bit at $5,400. I think he looks like a pretty appealing option here. Started last game, played 34 minutes, had 31 DK points. I think he's going to start again and probably get over 30 minutes once again. He's a guy that can kind of do a little bit of everything. Definitely when it comes to rebounding, he's been really good on the glass this year, especially with all these guys off the floor. His rebounding numbers see a big spike. Had 10 points, 9 rebounds, 1 assist, and 4 steals last game. If we're going to get 32, 34 minutes again from Terrence Mann at $5,400, even though his price went up, I still think he looks like a pretty appealing option. So I do like Terrence Mann quite a bit on this slate. I think in that 5K range, like him and Melo look like two of the better plays in the 5K range today. I do like Terrence Mann quite a bit, assuming that he does start again. Zubac I'm not really on. He was pretty productive last game, but still only played 18 minutes. He's only going to be, whatever Ibaka doesn't play, that's what Zubac's going to play. So if Ibaka plays 28 minutes, that means Zubac's only going to play 20. You're not going to really see those guys play alongside each other. Sure, Zubac could put up 30 fantasy points in 20 minutes. He's done it before, but I don't want to go to him on this slate. He's too expensive. Marcus Morris, another guy that burned me last slate. I was very high on him. I was surprised that he didn't start last game. He came off the bench, played 24 minutes, had 17 DK points. His price tag actually went up, so it's hard to feel insanely confident in Marcus Morris. I still think he has upside. I don't want to just completely fade him just because he had a bad game last game. I think the opportunity is still going to be there for Marcus Morris. It's not great to see him coming off the bench because I don't think his minutes are going to be as high coming off the bench. I think he's likely to play, mid-20s rather than low 30s. If he was starting, I would have thought he would have played like 30, 32 minutes. But with him coming off the bench now, 24, 25 minutes seems more likely. He could still put up, 30 DK points in 25 minutes, especially with all these guys off the floor. So I have some interest in Marcus Morris still. I think he's definitely viable. He's probably, on DraftKings, like him and Terrence Mann are probably like my two favorite Clippers. I don't really have any interest in anyone else, though, under Marcus Morris. Like Patrick Patterson barely, I don't even think he played last game. Yeah, like he didn't even play last game, so you can't really target him. So, yeah, I like Morris. I have interest in Morris at 5K. I do like Terrence Mann a lot at 5,400 if he starts again. Lou Will, if you want to take a shot on him in tournaments, you can. But that really does it from the Clippers side. Now on the Miami side with the Heat are going to be a team that we have to monitor today. So Jimmy Butler, Tyler Hero, and Goran Dragic were all out on Wednesday. This is a back-to-back for the Heat. Right now, we don't know the status of Butler, Hero, or Dragic. If they all play, I really don't have any interest in anyone from the Heat if all those guys are active. I guess Butler at 7,500 could be viable if he plays and he's not limited, because that is a pretty appealing price tag for Jimmy Butler. But if we do get a scenario where all three are out again, like we had on Wednesday, I think Kendrick Nunn looks like a great option once again. I was very high on him Wednesday once we got word that Tyler Hero and Dragic were both out. He didn't have that great of a game. He only put up 27 DK points, but he played 39 minutes. And I think it's likely that he plays, 36, 38 minutes again if Hero, Dragic, and Butler are all out. So this will just be something to monitor. If Hero, Dragic, and Butler all play, I have no interest really in anyone from Miami outside of maybe Jimmy Butler. But if they're all out again, then I think Kendrick Nunn at 5,900 does look like a really appealing option. But that kind of does it for Miami. I don't think there's really anyone else I'm looking to target on this team right now. So we can go ahead and move on to the late night hammer, the Warriors and the Suns. We'll start off on the Warriors side, another team that is on a back-to-back, so something to monitor. I don't think they're going to rest any guys, but it'll at least be something to monitor. A lot of these guys on the Warriors have been priced up. Like Curry's now up to 9,700, Wiggins almost 7K, Oubre 6,400. Really nobody from the Warriors stands out outside of, Steph Curry you could play in tournaments because he just always has a ton of upside. But this is not the best matchup. The Suns are pretty good defensively. They play at a really slow pace. I'd much rather play Damian Lillard for 10,600 over Curry. Even though Curry's cheaper, I would much rather just play Lillard. It's a better matchup, better game environment. Don't really like anyone from the Warriors right now. I mean, nobody stands out, even on this short slate. Like, I just don't see anyone that, factoring in price, that looks like a great option. These are guys you could maybe mix in if you're playing a lot of lineups, but if I'm only playing a handful of lineups, I probably won't have exposure to really anyone on the Warriors today, at least not on DraftKings now. Yahoo, the pricing's a bit more reasonable there. Curry's probably expensive, but Wiggins is only 25. I could see playing him on Yahoo. Oubre's only 19. I like that price. Draymond Green's only 19, so I could see playing some of those guys on Yahoo. But on DraftKings, like I said, I don't really see much from the Warriors that stands out. So moving on to the Suns, another team we'll have to watch in terms of injuries. Both Devin Booker and Cam Payne were out on Wednesday. We don't know their statuses for Thursday. If Booker plays, really if this entire team is healthy and Booker plays, the only guy I have interest in is DeAndre Ayton. Ayton burned me on Wednesday. I had him in my main DraftKings lineup, and right now he's doing completely terrible. He's having a god-awful game, but I'm fine going back to him today. It's a good matchup against the Warriors. It's a big-time pace-up spot. Ayton, I think, especially when you look at the center position, he does look like one of the better options overall at center on this slate, and I do like him a lot on Yahoo. He is very affordable on Yahoo. He's only $28. I think he looks like a really good option over there, regardless of if Booker plays or not. I think Ayton at $28 does look like one of the better center plays on Yahoo. I do like him quite a bit over there. He's like the one guy that stands out to me from the Suns. Chris Paul, if Devin Booker's out again, I think Chris Paul does become a much more appealing option. But right now, we'll just have to wait and see what happens with Booker. If Booker plays, really the only guy I like is Ayton. If Booker's out, I think Paul and Ayton are both solid options you can look to. But that kind of does it for the Suns. That kind of does it for all four of these games for Thursday. So I hope you guys did enjoy the video. Hopefully it did help, guys. We broke all four of these games down team by team. Gave you some of my early thoughts, what I'm liking as of Wednesday night. Recording this video the night before. But best of luck tonight, guys. Thanks for watching. As always, hit that like button before you do get out of here. Hit the subscribe button as well. Be sure to click the notification bell so that way you get notified every time I upload and you get notified every time I do go live. And I will be live streaming this afternoon. If you're able to tune into the live stream, I'll be able to answer all your questions for tonight's slate. We'll be able to talk through everything once again. So tune into the live stream. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Best of luck tonight, guys. Appreciate you watching. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.